fourth day of the ground campaign, we did a classic deep attack, moving about 300 kilometers towards Basra and intercepting one of the Iraqi Republican Guard divisions as it attempted to withdraw north across the Euphrates. Because of the smoke and the burning oil wells, we had to use our night vision systems to see the targets. It was like an inferno, what I imagined hell would look like. There were hundreds of enemy tanks and armored vehicles in a column. We engaged them with our Hellfire missiles and rockets. It was basically a turkey shoot. We annihilated them.
U.S. Marine Corps troops going to war during an exercise. Fast-moving assault helicopters take them almost right onto the battlefield. As they advance into contact, they become pinned down by heavy and accurate fire. Help is required and a call is made for close air support. Hornet pilots scramble into action. They fly at maximum speed to strike at the enemy positions, located just hundreds of meters in front of friendly troops. As they roll in, final directions are given by ground air controller. The enemy is dislodged and the advance can continue. The Allied air war against Iraq had gone amazingly well in the early days of the Gulf War. Without Iraqi air opposition, Allied air power hammered the enemy around the clock, destroying key strategic targets. Now it was time to turn against Saddam's huge army occupying Kuwait and threatening Saudi Arabia. When the ground offensive began, American, British, and French tanks swept around the Iraqi army with lightning speed and tightened the noose in a massive armored assault. And within that encirclement, close air support aircraft and gunship helicopters attacked, and attacked until their Iraqi enemy had been destroyed. These aircraft carried out a type of mission far removed from those which were attacking major targets. Specialist tank killers like the AH-64 Apache and the AH-1 Cobra killed Iraqi armor with their deadly Hellfire missiles. Fixed-wing types like the A-10 Thunderbolt tank buster, Marine Corps Harriers, U.S. Air Force F-16s, British and French Jaguars, and Hornet ground attack fighters pounded Iraqi forces day after day, allowing the coalition army to advance to liberate Kuwait. rugged Fairchild A-10 Thunderbolt II is the deadliest anti-tank jet in service. Instead of being a sleek supersonic fighter, the A-10 is slow but very maneuverable. The ugly A-10 is nicknamed the Warthog. It is designed to loiter over a battlefield, searching for and killing tanks. The aircraft was built around its massive GAU-8 Avenger rotary cannon. With a full load of ammunition, up to 1,350 30-millimeter rounds, the cannon system weighs as much as a small car. Each of the 7 barrels is over 2.3 meters long. Each round of ammunition is made up of depleted uranium and can have an armor-piercing or incendiary warhead. The Avenger can spit out shells at the rate of 4,200 rounds per minute. Both types of shells can rip through even the thickest armor of any known tank, from as far away as 6 kilometers. The A-10's primary anti-tank weapon is the AGM-65 Maverick air-to-ground missile. Guided by TV or infrared, Maverick's long range allows A-10s to kill tanks well outside the range of air defense artillery and missile systems. Nothing will stop the Maverick from killing its intended target. As well as guided weapons, the A-10 can carry up to 7 tons of conventional free-fall bombs or cluster munitions. The U.S. Air Force sent 8 squadrons of A-10s to fight during Desert Storm. As well as acting as tank killers, they were also used as forward air control, or FAC, aircraft, directing strikes by other close support aircraft, helicopters, and ground forces. They often carried electronic jamming pods and Sidewinder missiles for self-protection. The A-10's slow speed makes it much more vulnerable to anti-aircraft defenses. The cockpit is therefore armored with titanium to protect the pilot from ground fire. Twin tails shield the turbofan engines from heat-seeking missiles. The controls are duplicated so that even if some are shot away in battle, the A-10 can still fly home safely. The A-10 was designed to fight in Europe, but was called into action during Desert Storm, where it played a key role by destroying thousands of Iraqi tanks and artillery pieces. The Apache is the world's deadliest anti-tank helicopter. It is designed to attack tanks from long distance in all weathers, thanks to the combination of advanced sensors and weapons. Protected by a tough, heavily armored airframe, the crew can acquire their prey even in poor weather or at night using helmet-mounted sights in a system known as TAD/PNVS. This consists of a low-light TV and infrared system combined with a laser designator. The Apache's fixed armament is the Hughes M230 30-millimeter chain gun. It fires up to 1,200 rounds of ammunition at 625 shots a minute and is an extremely accurate weapon. The cannon can kill lightly armored vehicles within 2 kilometers. The Apache also carries 70-millimeter unguided rockets in 19-shot pods. The rockets have a range of up to 9 kilometers and are highly effective against lightly armored vehicles and trucks. The Apache's main weapon is the Hellfire anti-tank missile, carried in batches of 4. The weapon is fired by the gunner in the front seat. He designates a target, and the missile hits the point illuminated by the Apache's laser. Flying at high subsonic speeds, Hellfire will kill all known tanks at ranges well over 5 kilometers. The United States Marine Corps fielded 4 squadrons of Harriers during Desert Storm. To give maximum support, the AV-8B is deployed very close to U.S. Marine ground troops right at the front line, so that it can give them support exactly where and when it is needed. During Desert Storm, Harriers operated from amphibious assault carriers in the land base at Al Jubal in Saudi Arabia. Based on the famous British Harrier jump jet, the AV-8B has the almost unique ability among fixed-wing aircraft in being able to take off and land vertically. Fixed armament consists of a 25mm cannon, which is used for strafing ground targets. The main precision ground attack weapon is the Maverick missile in its laser-guided E model. The AV-8B also carries a wide range of unguided rockets of various calibers. Called FFAR for folding fin air rockets, these were used in 4-shot 127mm caliber, or in 19 and 7-shot 70mm form. Free-fall bombs can be carried in 227-kilogram Mark 82, 454-kilogram Mark 83, and 907-kilogram Mark 84 form. These are Mark 82 snake-eye weapons with retarded tails. The fins fold out after launch to slow down the bomb. This gives greater time for the attacking aircraft to escape the bomb's blast. The single-seat F-16 was the most numerous Allied fast jet deployed during Desert Storm. The U.S. Air Force sent 249 aircraft, or 10 squadrons of F-16. Although a formidable air combat fighter, the F-16 was used primarily in the air-to-ground role during Desert Storm. It flew battlefield air interdiction missions, bombing area targets such as barracks, oil refineries, and power plants. Free-fall bombs were the chief weapons for attacking Iraqi troop concentrations, artillery and armored vehicles from medium altitude. The F-16s often carried 12 227-kilogram Mark 82 or 4 907-kilogram Mark 84 low-drag bombs. Tactical munitions dispensers, or cluster bombs, were also widely used. These consist of smaller sub-munitions with various types of warhead which disperse over a large area on impact. The large F-16 force came from regular units in the USA and Europe, as well as from the Air National Guard. Operating from bases in Saudi Arabia, the United Arab Emirates, Qatar, and Turkey, F-16s flew a total of 13,500 sorties and made a large contribution to supporting Allied troops. Britain and France each sent a detachment of Jaguars to the Gulf to provide close air support for coalition troops. Deployed from Iraq in Bahrain, the RAF's 12 Jaguars carried out over 600 sorties with no losses, attacking ground targets with cluster bombs, CRV-7 high-velocity rockets, and 30mm cannon. The Armée de l'Air deployed 28 Jaguars to Al-Asa in Saudi Arabia. Like their British counterparts in the U.S. Air Force's F-16s, they were tasked with battlefield air interdiction. but they also flew many missions in support of troops. They were armed with low-drag bombs and Beluga cluster munitions. France's Jaguars also flew over 600 sorties, with one aircraft being damaged by ground fire. As well as carrying out strike and fighter operations from the U.S. Navy's 6 supercarriers deployed in the Gulf, FA-18 Hornets were also used by the U.S. Marines for close air support. They were armed with the same types of weapons as Marine Corps AV-8Bs, carrying such as laser-guided Maverick missiles and free-fall bombs. Hornets were also armed with Sidewinder and Sparrow air-to-air missiles. Seven squadrons of Hornets operated from Sheikh Issa Air Base in Bahrain. These were mostly single-seaters, although one unit flew the 2-seat night attack FA-18D model. This acted in the fast FAC role and carried 127mm rockets for marking targets. The U.S. Marine Corps relied on the Bell AH-1 Cobra for their gunship attack helicopter. The twin-engine Whiskey Sea Cobra model was armed with TOW and Hellfire anti-tank missiles. During one engagement, Marine Corps Cobras destroyed more than 60 tanks. Gazelle helicopters were operated by France, Kuwait, and Britain. France sent nearly 90, of which 2/3 were used in the anti-tank role. Each could engage Iraqi armor with 6 hot anti-tank missiles. Others flew armed reconnaissance and escort missions. British Gazelles were used as unarmed scouts. The British Army Air Corps deployed 24 Lynx helicopters from bases in Germany to support the famous Desert Rats. Used primarily in the anti-armor role, the Lynx also carried out armed escort and forward reconnaissance roles. The Lynx's anti-tank armament consists of 8 TOW missiles. These are sighted optically and are guided by wire. As the Allied aircraft came back from battle, they had to be turned around, rearmed and refueled as quickly as possible.
We would land and, without shutting down, just pull it right into, we call it hot pit refueling. So with the engine running, they'll just taxi on up, and we'd fill up all the tanks again. Then we'd go into the air, into our parking spot. As soon as we shut down, immediately weapons would start loading up the next weapons and any other minor maintenance involved in the turnaround of the aircraft.
The footage you are about to see comes from the sensors of Apache gunships as they attacked in Iraqi armored column.
captured division commanders, when asked, how come you didn't use your artillery? And he replied, my artillery was destroyed by air 100% before the ground campaign started, and in fact, I called for artillery support from the division next to mine, and their artillery was destroyed 100% by air in transit to support my division.
The destruction of the Iraqi army was almost complete, as Iraqi troops, vehicles, and tanks fled Kuwait in panic on the road north to Basra. They were attacked relentlessly by Allied air power and were annihilated.
I had briefed all of those division commanders and cavalry commanders before the war started, and I said, we will destroy a minimum of 50% of the armor and artillery before you cross the boundary or before you start the ground war. Based on what they found, I think there's no doubt in their mind or anyone else's that we exceeded 50% very significantly.